Hey and welcome back, I'm Jack and we are running through CompBot release where I'm doing Road to Las Vegas 3 speedrun walkthrough of the levels which I covered in the speedrun against Jim and Early. No spoilers, but the speedrun is now over on FMWC UK's channel, which you can go and find in the link below this video and find out how we did versus Jim. So, without further ado, let's have a look at the case. This is a case by Harry Siders, and if you remember from yesterday and the day before, we had cases by Harry Grass and Harry Watson. And this third case, this for the third month of the year, was called I'm Just Wild About Harry by the third Harry in a row. I absolutely love this theme. There was even a section on our very own humble MVP Giles Mail where he was dubbed Humble Harry. Without further ado, let's go ahead and see what we did. So, first thing I always do is run Ctrl-Shift-G, and that will set up my case workbook so that I can use it the way that I like to use it. In this case, here's some nice things for looking at bonuses if they come up. The actual bonus questions and levels are assigned to their own sheets, as well as sheets with all the extras. So, I'm going to do this from the level sheets this time round, and the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to look up range level 4. These are automatically named when I set up the sheet, and it's based on the L4 sheet. There's only technically one cell I really need from the sheet, so I'm going to keep this cell. I don't know why there's such a large username, and this is what we've got. I'm just going to do a quick find and replace on full stops, because that is the delimiter we're using, and when I put the delimiter out it just ends up not actually working. So copy this to the right, I'm going to use a full stop as a delimiter, and I'm going to run a command that splits the text using delimiter from the cell above. That gives me each of these rows. I'm just going to call this range A, and then I'm going to go over here and do an X match on that one with range A, and that gives you row 13. I can copy that down with an autofill down, and I'm done with level 4. So let's go into level 5. Here we have to determine what people liked and what they disliked, and see who each person is based on their combinations of likes and dislikes. But they also use words like admired, appreciated, enjoyed, favored for liked, and hated, despised, detested, spurned for disliked. So, what we're actually going to, one trick I know that someone noticed was that anything that they liked, regardless of the word used, they used the following before that, and they used these items before things they didn't like. So I'm just going to use the G and semicolon from that, from the following, and use text after to get the stuff immediately after the words the following. So these are the ones that people liked. In this case, this person liked codes but hated everything else. And then I'm also going to lose, if they like the thing first, there'll be a bunch of text afterwards. So I'm just doing a text before space wrap with if error to drop anything that's not included in that list. Then I want a list of what we're looking at, because we're looking at bears, sensors, codes, wobble, and monkeys. So again, I'm going to use my range level 5. I'm going to go to these cells here and just go keep these cells. And it will just keep those headers. And I have a lovely function that is called find above in left. So it's going to look for bears, sensors, codes, monkeys, and wobble in the cell on the left. And it's only going to find codes, so it's going to return a 1 for that. And then I'm going to concat that. I'm also going to go in here and make sure that I F4 that lock. And then I'm going to go over to the right, and I'm going to set up a whole other section. So here's our range level 5. This is the full range of likes and dislikes, so we can check the names for what people liked. I'm going to drop the first row because we don't like that, and it's got lots of zeros in. Move this over to the right, and then just keep the column with the names in, and name that as N. I'm then going to move the array there and just keep the columns with just bears, sensors, codes, monkeys, and wobble. And then I'm going to apply substitute blank for 0 and a substitute blank for 1, and I'm going to concatenate by row. Now, when I go into this blank and substitute dislikes for 0 and substitute likes, that's not how you spell likes for 1, it will then give me a series of codes with 0s and 1s for each person, which should match the code that I've calculated on the left. And I'm just going to name this one L for the lookup, and then go into here, do an X lookup, and that is that one done. So I can now just autofill this down, and I only want the answer from this one, so I'm going to Control-Shift-S, which saves answers to the left into the green cells, and it does note that it's gone further down than it expects and produced some bonus answers, but the ones that are copied do work. So that function works in this case, and I'm happy. That is level 5. My final level is level 6. So level 6 had a bunch of songs. So let's get a list of all the songs from the range level 6. And that is all the songs. Now, you can identify the song's title because it's underneath a row that starts with song hash. So I'm actually going to do song hash here, and I'm going to use that same find above in left. And that will give me a bunch of 1s and 0s depending on where I find that. I'm then also going to take this whole array, and I'm going to turn it into a sequence of row count. I love this one. So it will give me a sequence from 1 to however many rows there are. And then I'm actually going to add 1 because what I want to do is I want to pick up the next row, which is the row with the name of the song in. So this gives me 2, 3, 4, and so on. And when I filter this list, filter that list based on when the song is found, this gives me the rows with all the titles of the songs. And I can just name this one as whatever I want to call it. So I'm just going to use F for filter because it's a little bit easier than doing that. Now I can do a bit of a convoluted formula, but I'm going to do an index and look in range L6 for, and now I'm going to do an X lookup on an X match, where I look up the lyric that we're looking at in range level 6, and whatever row that returns, I'm going to look up that row number in my list of filtered rows and find, using match mode, the exact match or the next smaller item. And the reason I'm doing this is it will return me to the row that the song title is in. So I'm going to close that one and close that one, and that gives me my solution. Autofill down, and there are all the answers for level 7. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you enjoy playing with CompBot. If you do want to find exactly what I've done and how I've done it, I have included all of these in the speedrun step sheet of CompBot, so you can actually check out what I did with Road to Las Vegas 1, 2, and 3. Thanks for watching.